rained again. And it wasn't a heavy rain. It was neither a heavy rain nor a long sustained rainfall. But I always go out towards the end of the day, late in the afternoon, after 3 o'clock or so. And yeah, my goal is to go out at around 2, but oftentimes it's like past 3, or in some cases even it is after 4 o'clock. And it rained exactly as when I was trying to get out and start walking in the yard. So everything was wet and I wasn't able to walk. So what I did was I continued unpacking the boxes, which I packed several years ago, maybe 3 years ago, I guess, at least a couple of years ago when I moved. And while I was unpacking, I found another hard drive, portable hard drive, removable portable hard drive, and on that I found a piece of personal history. This was it's a receipt, right? This receipt is tied to a very scary, in a negative sense, memorable, incident I experienced in Tokyo. This is, as you can see, in red, it says the Great East Japan Earthquake and Tsunami. This happened in 2011 in March, on March the 11th. And at that time I was working for Kyoto University. I was teaching there as an associate professor. So I was normally, you see, on a normal day I would have been in Kyoto, right? Because that's where I work and where I teach. But on this day, also on the following day, Friday evening and also Saturday in the afternoon towards the evening, I was going to give a seminar in a building, or in Kyoto University's Tokyo office, Tokyo building, at near right by Shinagawa Station, where Shinkansen, the bullet train, stops. And it's almost Tokyo. I think after Shinagawa it's Tokyo, isn't it? I believe so. So and Shinagawa is also a part of this Tokyo metropolitan district. So I mean the distance is a very short distance separates Tokyo Station and Shinagawa Station. Anyway, our Tokyo office, our means Kyoto University's Tokyo office, was located right by Shinagawa Station. So, and it was going to be a full house, and so I was going to give the same seminar 4 times, twice late, starting late afternoon, like at 4:30 or so, and also in the evening. So the first seminar started at 4:30. The next one, would start at 6:30 or something. And then on Saturday afternoon, I was going to give 2 more seminars. All those 4 sessions were the same, the same seminar 4 times. And I believe I was going to have something like a total of 400, 500 people, even more maybe, something like that, 400, 500 people. And oh, by the way, and that's when, that is exactly when this, the Great East Japan Earthquake and Tsunami that struck East Japan. Tokyo was not as hard hit as as Tohoku area, northeastern part of Japan. They were the hardest hit, but still it was a huge earthquake. Here's what I transpired. I was both lucky and unlucky. I'll tell you why. Oh, by the way, towards the end of the story, I'll come to this receipt. This is a receipt from a store which sold meals, but sold sold meals, in lunch boxes. Okay, so it's takeout only. It was a takeout only store, and it was one of very few stores which was open on the evening of that big earthquake. Here's what transpired. So I was going to give a seminar, late afternoon at 4:30 or so, starting at 4:30 or so. So I left Kyoto. I left my university. I believe I had something like a meeting, in the morning, and I left my university at around noon, and took the bullet train from Kyoto Station to Shinagawa Station, which is one stop away from Tokyo Station. So from Kyoto to Shinagawa, and I said I was both lucky and unlucky. Well, the unlucky part was simply that I was struck by this earthquake, and especially it was kind of memorable because usually I would have been in Kyoto, right? If I were in Kyoto, I wouldn't have experienced, that huge earthquake. I mean, even historically, extremely huge earthquake. So the fact that, it was the day of my seminar, that coincidence was quite unlucky. So I felt both lucky and unlucky. And there was another lucky incident, which was that I arrived at Shinagawa Station. It was like 2 o'clock or something. I don't remember, but I arrived at Shinagawa Station, and I got off the bullet train. Already I was off the bullet train and came up the steps to the gate, through which I can go out of the station. And this earthquake struck us after I got off the train and walked up the stairs, and I was near the gate, already near the ticket gate, through which I was going to be able to go out of the station. But I was still inside the station. But I was off the train, and this was an extremely lucky coincidence because, many people who were on the train at the time the earthquake struck, they had to spend like hours, maybe close to half a day, I don't know, like 5-6 hours easily, on the train. You see, some were packed like a can of sardines, and it would have been terrible, but I was lucky in the sense that I was already off the train. And it was such a close call because, as I told you, I got off the train and walked up the steps, and before I got out of the station, the earthquake struck, right? So it would have been like 1-2 minutes or something like that, Anyway, it was a narrow escape from getting trapped inside, a train. Anyway, it was when the earthquake hit. First, I heard something like I don't know. It's something like a huge army tank or something, was coming from far away, approaching us from far away. So I heard something like very low vibration, a low sound. And then seconds later, the quake hit, I was a survivor, or I did experience Loma Prieta. I don't know how many of you, the viewers of this video, are familiar with Loma Prieta earthquake, but that was an earthquake that hit San Francisco Bay Area in, let's see, it was 1989, I believe, something like that. And it was uh, it was a huge earthquake. They still talk about it. So I had, you know, at least I had survived one earthquake, Loma Prieta earthquake, but this was totally comparable to that shaking. You know, this tremor was really scary. As you can imagine, you know, like the station building, right? The station building of a, you know, of a bread train station. I mean, the building was quite sturdy, very strong, but I could see some of the beams. You know, I could see like I could see. Do you call it a chasm? You know, like when. Yeah, it was like a larger than the hairline. It's like a hairline fracture, you know, of your brain. I mean, of your bone. I'm sorry. I'm getting excited, so I can't talk well. But I can tell, you know, there was a chasm like that. Chasm. There was a word for it. I do not know, but you know, there's a gap developing, you know, and running through a huge beams, you know, of the station building, and it was even difficult to be standing there. So I crouched. So did many people, and it lasted. I don't know. It felt like, you know, it felt only like 20 seconds or so, but later I've been told it was more like 1 minute. It lasted, you know, for quite some time. You know, and when the shaking finally stopped, we all got up, you know. Many of us were crouching and squatting, you know, on the floor, and we all got up and realized that, you know, I mean, when there's a huge earthquake, it's possible that there are quakes which are, you know, of a similar size. You know, earthquakes of a similar size can hit again. And sure enough, about a minute ago, you know, another large quake hit us, and this time, I really want to share this story because this is an impressive human story. You see, there was a lady who was pushing is it called a baby cart? I don't know. You know, baby carrier. And when the first earthquake struck, the lady was, you know, holding onto the cart. But second time around, she was trying to call someone. You see, with her mobile phone. So, you know, the carriage, baby carriage or baby cart. Well, what do you call it? Baby carriage. That's she wasn't holding it. So it started not really at a high speed, but it started moving, and she immediately screamed, and many adults who were, you know, squatting and crouching again, they all, including myself, all the adults around there, they all stood up and ran to the baby carriage and grabbed it. So you know, it was like an instinctive reaction for us. We acted on a reflex, and even myself, you know, I mean, I thought I would have been, I thought I would have been more selfish, you know, in a situation like that, because like my life may be in danger, right? But all the adults, really, all the adults, they ran to the baby carriage and tried to stop it. And I think, like protecting, defending our young, children, infants, whatever, that's programmed in the human brain, especially for adults. That would be the case. So anyway, so there were two, as far as I can remember, there were two huge first tremor and then relatively large second tremor, and after that there were small shakes, shakings once or twice. I got out of the station, I got through the gate and out of the station, and I saw some of the high-rise buildings, right in front of the station, moving, swaying, not like shaking, swaying back and forth very slowly. So yeah, it is now a well-known phenomenon because people always talk about it, but that was the first time I saw it, and I was very afraid that the building may break off, somewhere in the middle, those high-rise buildings. Now I know that it's a protective mechanism, and it's because of that swaying. Those buildings actually, they can withstand large quakes better. But anyway, so that's, ordinarily I would have been in Kyoto, and in Kyoto and Osaka, with, far away from Tokyo and eastern Japan, they felt some tremor, but not much. But it was extremely scary. I was in front of the station, standing there, just like many others. I didn't want to go into any building for quite a while, and then I realized that if there is a tidal wave, tsunami, then Tokyo, the city of Tokyo, many places in the city of Tokyo may not be safe. So I thought, when I realized that, I walked hurriedly to the high-rise building whose 27th floor housed our Kyoto University's Tokyo office. So I went to that building, and I was able to get into the building. But of course, the elevator was not working. So I walked up to the 27th, floor to check on some of the people I knew. Like they were sent to that office from Kyoto University, and they were stationed there. And I wanted to, check that they are safe. They were safe, and on the way there, when I reached like the 20th floor, I believe, there are a couple of people walking down, from the floor, and walking down the same staircase, and they were seminar attendants, prospective seminar attendants, and they had known me for a while. I didn't know them, but they knew me for a while, and they immediately recognized that it was me, and said, Professor Otani, are you okay? And then they said, we also went up to try to go to the 27th floor and check, the Kyoto University, the Tokyo office of Kyoto University, and also they wanted to check if the seminar was still on. I was quite impressed, by the way, or surprised, I would say. When the quake hit me, I immediately realized there wouldn't be a seminar, right? Typically so. But those people came to see, to check if the seminar, there would be a seminar. Anyway, so they said, the door to the floor, from the staircase to the floor, that door was locked, and they weren't able to get into the, get out of the staircase and check our office, and so that was the. But by then, I mean, that's the story. So we came back down together, and then I realized, including bullet train, nothing was, the public transportation was not available. I was able to use data transmission on my phone, but I wasn't able to make a call. I think so many people are using the phone system, mobile phone system at a time, and but I was able to get data about the earthquake, and I realized that Tokyo, at least the Tokyo metropolitan area, was safe, and I also read that the traffic system, transportation system in Tokyo area, they were completely paralyzed. In other words, nothing was moving. And since, you see, I was lucky in this sense also. You see, typically what I was doing, I had been doing was that I would give a seminar, toward the evening, and then take the bullet train, Shinkansen bullet train, right back to Kyoto. And so I didn't spend a night in Tokyo. It was typical of me. But because this seminar was suddenly, I do not know why that one seminar was so popular, but because I was going to give 4 sessions, I was going to stay in Tokyo overnight, right? So I had a reservation. For a business hotel. Business hotel, is it appropriate English? They are called business hotels in Japanese. They're like no nonsense type, just bed and shower and very small desk, that kind of no luxury, no nothing but cheap, but affordable. So I had a reservation, but that was kind of far from Shinagawa, and I noticed that on the street, so people are really marching. I mean, the sidewalks were really crowded, and people are marching home, like their respective homes. So I decided to walk along since I knew which stop, which station the business hotel, the hotel was, with which I made a reservation, which station that hotel was close to. So I decided to walk to that station. It was only like, let's see, it wasn't I mean, some people walked like 30, 40 kilometers, right? Some people walked overnight to reach home. It's a good thing it happened, late on Friday, so like they were able to recuperate on Saturday and Sunday. But anyway, but mine was, it was like a 2-hour, I think I walked for 2 hours, I believe, 2-3 hours to that station. And finally I reached the hotel, business hotel, where I had a reservation. And I was very afraid though, because it was an emergency, right, after a large earthquake. So, and the transportation system was not working. So I think there were, so many people stranded in Tokyo, and therefore, and they all looked, they would all look for a room, right, for a hotel room. And so I was afraid that they could have made an exception and, you know, just canceled my reservation and accommodated anyone, you know, like first come first served kind of basis, on that kind of basis. But they didn't do so. When I got to that hotel and I showed I told my name and stuff, and also a reservation ticket. That's what they called, you know, on my mobile phone. Uh, they just nicely smiled and said, "Yes, sir. You know, we have a room for you. Of course, you made a reservation." And when I said I was very afraid they could have made a, you know, made an exception and canceled my reservation, then they said, no way. We know, we have proper business ethics or something. And they smiled and said, "Are you okay, sir? I mean, you know, like, you may not be familiar with this area, and you know, being hit by an earthquake should have been a terrible experience," and so on. That's true. But I was lucky because it was Tokyo. You know, I had made so many business trips to Tokyo. In some cases, you know, I had to go to Tokyo twice a week, once on Tuesday and one more time on Friday or something. And in those days, I had to go to Tokyo University, the University of Tokyo, and also Tokyo Institute of Technology, you know, many times. And I averaged about 50 trips to 50, you know, 50, not 15, 50, half a century, 50 trips to Tokyo, business trips to Tokyo every year. So I was reasonably familiar. But anyway, luckily I was able to get a room, and there were smaller tremors, you know, still, you know, from time to time, but there was no longer a large scary ones. So I just went to the room and you know, put down my luggage, and which was a backpack, by the way, and took a short shower. And then suddenly I realized, you know, since like 11 a.m. or something, I hadn't eaten anything. I had not eaten anything, and that's where this receipt comes in the picture. And this receipt also serves as a piece of proof, even though it doesn't have my name, a piece of proof that I was there. I was in Tokyo on that day. So I was hungry, and the hotel, it had a vending machine, so I was able to get some snacks, you know, like potato chips and stuff, but that's not food, right? I mean, that's not, it wouldn't make a, you know, good evening meal. So I asked the hotel staff, and they told me about, you know, excuse me, about eating places, and also restaurants, and also where I can buy, like, you know, buy meals, like takeout meals. And I checked, first I tried to go to, you know, restaurants nearby, but near the hotel, but they are all full and there are lines outside all those restaurants. So I didn't want to wait, you know, for a long time there. So I decided to check, you know, check takeout places, and this was the third. So I checked like 6 restaurants. They were all full with a long line, you know, waiting line. And then I checked 2 takeout places where I saw long lines. And then finally, I decided to go to, you know, this place. I do not know why it's named like this, but this one, this means origin, like Origin, I believe, origin. And this is lunchbox or lunch. Bento means either lunch or, yeah, bento is lunch. I I wonder if they meant original. I don't know. The origin of takeout lunch, whatever. So I finally got to this place, and amazingly, there was no line. And there are a couple of people ahead of us, ahead of me, but I waited for, I don't know, less than 1 minute, because they take orders one after another, and then there is a kitchen inside, in the backyard and behind the counter, and they call customers' names, as their meals become ready. So that's so I was finally able to buy this. And so this is just about $4. This lunch was, and the person who served me, his name was I believe it was a he, Hirao-san. I was customer, in terms of the receipt, I was customer 3410 maybe, and yeah, so this this is the connection between this excuse me, takeout dinner or lunch, takeout meal place, and me. And by the way, I thought about giving, I told you there were going to be two lectures, two sessions, the same lecture, they were all the same, and two sessions towards the evening on Friday, into the evening on Friday, and two more Saturday afternoon. But so I went to, I went to Tokyo office again, and tried to check with them, but the office itself was, by now I wasn't able to even go into the building. So it was a Saturday too. Anyway, so all 4 sessions of that seminar had to be cancelled, and I just came back. So I survived this big earthquake to tell about it to Kyoto University students, and they were impressed, quite impressed by the coincidence. It didn't make me a hero or anything, but the fact that usually I'm in Kyoto, I'm in Western Japan, and this earthquake hit Eastern Japan, and yet precisely at the moment the earthquake hit East Japan, I was in Tokyo, I was in East Japan. This there is there after this, next week, so this was Friday and Saturday, right? Next week on Monday, Kyoto University, our administrators received a call complaining about the cancellation of my seminar, and I spoke with the guy, and originally I thought the guy was from outside East Japan, and maybe that's why he didn't realize how big the quake was and stuff. But as it turned out, he was a student of Tokyo University of the University of Tokyo, and so he he experienced that huge shake, and nevertheless he still thought, there should have been a seminar. The seminar should have been given. Yeah, he was entitled to that opinion, and that's fine. But I just politely told him the office, on Friday the office was we weren't able to use the elevator, and also, the I wasn't even able to go to, get out of the staircase and go to Kyoto University's Tokyo office on the 27th floor and all that. And on Saturday the building itself was closed. So it's the guy was then, I guess he was satisfied. He wasn't, according to the administrators, he was very rude and angry to the administrators, but he was okay with me, and we just chatted just a bit, and I promised to, to give a makeup seminar, or just another seminar, a seminar of that kind, like, I don't know, sometime in near future, and he was satisfied with that. By the way, I made good on the promise, and it took about half a year, I believe. Half a year? Yeah, something like that. I made good on the promise. I kept my words, and I did give a seminar. This time it was a much smaller seminar, and I mean the audience, the size of the audience, I had only like 300, 300 people, and I was I gave 2 sessions of the seminar. That's what I remember. And there was one interesting story, when, here is another coincidence. I was told by the people at at the Tokyo office, I was told that at the time, in one of the conference rooms of Kyoto University's Tokyo office, a meeting of disaster prevention officers and researchers it was taking place, and the earthquake struck during that meeting, and they're all experts on disaster prevention, right? So right after the quake, the office staff, they all ran down the staircase and got out of the building. But this person who told me the story, he was the head of our Kyoto University's Tokyo office, so he had to make sure, he is the last to leave. So he went to check the conference room. Then the conference was still going on, and the people there, those disaster prevention experts, they said to the administrator, to the top guy at the at the Tokyo office, Kyoto University's Tokyo office, that first that magnitude, that kind of shaking would never, make a building like this collapse. Not at all. Therefore, it is much safer to stay inside. That's reason number 1. That's what they said. And they also said, let me give you reason number 2. This is just as convincing, they said. And those disaster prevention experts said, things may fall on you from other buildings, And also some weak buildings, especially wooden buildings, houses and stuff, they may fall and hit you. So it is much safer to stay in here. So we decided to, they said, those disaster prevention experts just coolly, in a well calculated and well educated whatever manner, they said, we decided it's the safest to stay in here. And since we are staying in here, we thought we might as well continue our meeting. And that's why we are still continuing the meeting, they said. The building warden, and later, here's what I heard, somehow decided that to evacuate the building. So they were never able to complete the scheduled 2-hour meeting. But so they had to gather again at a later date. Nevertheless, that's what what experts can do, I guess they're right. I mean, yeah, but so it was a very scary experience, with so many interesting stories, and I still remember, many things, so many things that transpired on that day so clearly because I believe I was so scared, and it was so memorable in a negative sense. No one, by the way, no one I knew was a victim of that earthquake, but a couple of Kyoto University students who were visiting Tohoku, northeastern Japan, for research, they were hit by tsunami at the airport. So they were on their way out, I believe, and they just drowned and died. But that's the only casualty I heard about. So I feel like I still feel like I was, and this is true, since I was a victim of that earthquake. So I still feel like I was, I was a part of the victims. Yes, I was, but I still feel like I'm on that particular day, at that particular time, on those 2 days, I was a Tokyo resident, right? I mean, I wasn't residing there, but I was in Tokyo, and I shared that whole horrible experience with people in Tokyo. And of course, it was even worse in northeastern Japan. In the following week, they started a campaign, to solicit donations, okay, to help those struck by the earthquake. And the impression the earthquake left on me was still so strong that before I knew it, when I saw it on the computer screen, when I saw that opportunity, before I knew it, I had, this is true, I had donated $2,000. No, 2,000 is not true. If we use the current rate, it would be something like $15,000. No, wait a minute. No. I'm sorry. I'm lying. I'm so sorry. 15,000. No way. $1.5 thousand. Okay, not 2,000. $1.5 thousand. Anyway, so this is the receipt of the first meal I ate on that day after the quake, and as you can tell, it says 22, 24. That's 10:24. So I wasn't able to eat anything until 10 p.m., 10:30 or 10:24 p.m. $4, including tax. I think I talked long enough. Yeah, it was quite an experience. I hope you don't have to share an experience like this. In your country. By the way, ever since I had this experience, as a joke and also as a, in order to give them a warning, when I talked to newly arrived graduate students, I mean international students at Kyoto University, I always talk about earthquakes, and I just so you know, just to make it sound light, I typically say something like, you know, if you stay here long enough, if you're going to stay here for, you know, for the degree, like for a for example, for a PhD, it may take like 6-7 years or even longer, and then I'll assure you, during your stay here, your stint here, I'll assure you, one nice big earthquake, a couple of typhoons, and but otherwise a very nice stay. And yeah, if you're coming to Japan, you should be prepared for that. Our research, environmental sciences research facilities, this is quake proofed. We spent something like $10,000. Yeah, this time 10,000. We means not personally me, you know. We spent, the authority spent about $10,000 to quake proof the buildings. So this place is safe. Okay, well, I talked so much, and I know why, because it's, you know, so many things happened on this day. Okay. I need to drink something. Alright, so I'm signing off. This is not related to my research. I apologize for this, but this was an interesting story, I hope, for you. And this was a very important experience for me. I'm signing off. See you tomorrow. Bye bye. Until next time. Bye.